Hi Jess, welcome to the Righteous Being. Congratulations on getting your position here with us.
Thank you.
My name's Hannah, I'm part of the HR team and our manager has asked me today to run you through our OHS basic induction. First off, I'd like to start with our mission, values and visions. So our mission is to equitably source exceptional coffees, roast them to perfection and promote ethical, sustainable, fair trade products throughout our wholesaling operation and our vibrant organic cafe outlets. Our values include integrity, ethical decision making, authenticity, excellence and continually improving. And our vision is to provide ethical, sustainable and excellent products, make ethical business decisions, treat every person kindly, be open, honest, authentic, share our products with our customers nationally. So to achieve that, we need to make sure we have a good solid foundation at the business, and a huge part of that includes our OHS. So, workplace safety and risk management. A lot of the excerpts that I'm going to give to you today will come directly from our staff handbook or the WorkSafe website. So it is the policy of the Righteous Being to provide a safe and healthy work environment for its employees, contractors and customers, and to recognise the importance of keeping the health and safety standards in our workplaces under constant review. The Righteous Being believes that all workplace injuries are preventable, and the responsibility for safety begins with the managing director and is shared throughout the organisation. I'm sure you've worked for workplaces before again where health and safety is a really big focus. Yeah. So just to continue on with that, the purpose of the OHS policy is to identify work health safety responsibilities at each function and level in line with OHS legislative requirements. Some of these, I won't go through them all, but some of these include providing and maintaining a work environment that is safe and without risk, provide safe systems, provide adequate facilities such as amenities, toilets, first aid rooms, and provide safe systems of work. So we're using safe plant and equipment, safe appliances. So, in Victoria, we follow the Occupational Health and Safety Act 2004, and we build on that by using the regulations from the Occupational Health and Safety Regulations 2017. So there's two different, you've got the Act and the regulations. The regulations come from the Act. So the regulations kind of are extracted and made a bit more clear to read. So everywhere else, apart from, I believe it's Queensland or WA, they all follow the WHS, which is the Work Health and Safety, but we follow Occupational Health and Safety. So, general duties relating to health and safety. So Section 3 of the Occupational Health and Safety Act imposes responsibilities regarding occupational health and safety on various parties. This includes employers, self-employed individuals, employees, designers, manufacturers, suppliers and other entities. So what I have written myself is in white, and what is red is directly from the website. So the general OHS duties necessitate that duty holders take reasonable steps to ensure the protection of health and safety. As part of this, duty holders must eliminate risks to health and safety so far as is reasonably practicable. We'll talk about reasonably practical in a minute, and they need to reduce risks to health and safety so far if this is not reasonably practical, to eliminate the risks. So they've got to eliminate risks as far as reasonably practical, but if not, they need to find another way. So that word reasonably practical can mean so many different things. So what is reasonably practical? In determining what constitutes reasonably practical, the duty holder must assess actions in line with what a reasonable person would do, employing measures that are reasonably practical. Before deciding what this is, duty holders must take into account, and this is directly from the WorkSafe website, the likelihood of a hazard or risk occurring. So what is the probability? So here at the Righteous Being, we wouldn't go and change all of our coffee machines because there could be a chance of an electrical fault that could result in someone getting an electric shock. If it's never happened before, there's no warning, we wouldn't go and change it. So we assess the risk and work out, okay, it could happen, so the best thing to do is change it. So, it also comes under the degree of harm that that person would endure. what the person concerned knows or reasonably knew about the hazard. So if you knew that the coffee machine was faulty and you never reported it, that's not very practical. The availability and suitability of ways to eliminate it. So we'll talk later about the hierarchy of control, but there's, ways to make things reasonably practical. So just move on. Again, in what I've written, just in easy terms to read. So employers are responsible for the health and safety of their employees. That's very straightforward. This obligation entails upholding a work setting that is secure and free from health hazards. This duty extends to independent contractors operating. So say we have someone come into the workplace to fix the coffee machines or to stock up product, the duty extends to them, as well as employees of those contractors, customers, anyone on the premises. So I'm not going to read all of them to you, I'm just going to read a couple. So for example, maintain the workplace in a condition that is safe and without risks to health, including space, layout, security, lighting, ventilation, and noise control. Our coffee rooms can often get quite steamy, so we like to make sure there's enough ventilation and airflow, provide adequate facilities for the welfare of employees, such as drinking water, toilets, eating areas, and first aid. Sometimes our employees get burns, or they might inhale some fumes, so we make sure there's always first aid available. Just to continue on, the OHS Act and Regulations then provides further information into. So there's all different levels that the OHS say that an employer is responsible for and the duties. So it's duties of employers, those who manage the workplaces, the designer of plants, the designers of buildings and structures, people who install, erect or commission plant, everyone who is part of the business has a level of care, a duty of care. And I have just highlighted down the bottom for you the website where all this information has come from. Moving on, the righteous being is very focused on consultation. So consultation is very important when a risk arises, because we need to find out how we can fix this risk. And I might even go back to the coffee machines giving electric shocks, for example. So firstly, we have the WorkSafe Guide for Victoria consultation booklet. So if you weren't happy with the information that we have provided in our staff handbook, you can get more information there. I have added a link. But otherwise, consultation. Do you know much about consultation and how consultation works? No. Okay, so I'll quickly run through it. So there's 4 steps of consultation. The first is we want to identify a hazard. So you've identified that the coffee machine has given a few electric shocks. We want to assess the risk. So the risk with that is someone's going to get injured, someone's going to get an electric shock. The degree of that injury, we're not quite sure, but we definitely want to make sure we eliminate it completely. So we're going to control the risk, we're going to put measurements in place. We could get an electrician to come out and test and tag the machine, work out what's faulty, go back to the manufacturer, ask them if there's been any other companies that have had the same problem, or we might even eliminate the coffee machine completely and go with a new company. Then once this has all been implemented, we need to go back and review it and make sure that it did work. Make sure the machine's running fine, there's no more electric faults, and no one's getting shocked. So it's just a process. At the Righteous Beam, there are different ways that we allow this consultation to happen. So during staff meetings, OHS issues will be brought up. Weekly team meetings, it'll be brought up. The team leader will facilitate OHS discussions. Management will have quarterly meetings and weekly meetings to discuss OHS. So anything that you bring to the table will be brought up. And you can bring that up to management, a health and safety rep. Just make sure if you see a risk, you consult someone immediately, and then we can work through the process of getting through it. So, consultation activity is, I'm just going to think of an activity off the top of my head. If you had an issue and wanted to, I've got it written down here. If you identified a potential issue and you want to make awareness around it, what would you do?
identify a potential risk, I would speak with management.
Yep.
And my health and safety representative. We would discuss the risks, ways we can control the risk, and what control measures can be put in place.
Yep.
I'm also aware that I'm aware that what I speak about with my health and safety rep will also be brought up at weekly meetings.
Yeah, yep.
And potentially management and quality
Quarterly meetings.
Yes,
Yeah, definitely. So anything that you bring up to management or health and safety rep will be definitely brought up further to make sure we can assess any risks and put control measures in place. So I think you understand what consultation is. You see an issue, you speak out immediately.
Yeah.
We have a lot of different procedures at the Righteous Being, which is in the staff handbook. I'm just going to quickly go through accident and incident reporting. So all incidents and accidents, regardless of whether an injury was sustained, must be reported to employees. I think you understand why, so we can put control measures in place, make sure no one does injure themselves, even if it's like a near miss. So each incident needs to be reported and recorded in the accident and incident report form. So submit it straight away to your elected HSR. If your HSR isn't available, go to your manager. So we need everything documented. No one's going to get in trouble. There's not going to be any repercussions. It's just for making sure the workplace is safe. When you do come across a risk, so when I was talking about assessing risks, we provide you with a risk matrix and an action table, and it's going to allude to how we're going to kind of rate something. So, for example, if it's, say, it can cause a first aid treatment and it's possible to happen, then it's a moderate issue. So moderate is acceptable. It's unlikely to cause much damage, but there is treatment plans that can be developed. So I'll just point out, so for example, you get electric shock. So the likelihood of it happening, if it's happening multiple times, we'd probably go likely. And if it's caused an injury, if someone's got an electric shock, we'd say that's a pretty high medical incident, because we don't know the extent could cause heart problems. So high means it's not acceptable and we've got to do something about it. We will go through that further with you in your training, but it will just shows you how we rate anything that could be a risk that turns into a hazard. I did quickly move to the hierarchy of control, and this is what we put in place to manage our risk. So if a risk comes up, we need to work out what we're going to do. We're going to eliminate it, we're going to substitute it, we're going to isolate it. So with the coffee machine, we could remove the hazard by getting a new one. We could substitute it with a less hazardous coffee machine. We could engineer the coffee machine to make it fix better. We could do administrative, we could put signs up to say, do not touch this coffee machine, and personal protective equipment. This is the last resort, but you could do things like wear voltage gloves when you're moving it or something like that. So we will also refer to the hierarchy of control. So this will allow us to know what our problem is and what our risk is and how much it could impact someone. And then this is what we're going to do to lower that risk. This is our emergency action plan, which I have printed out for you. These are other important procedures to read up on. I won't go through them all because it is in the printout, but it's just there so you know what we do have. As you can see, there's stuff such as workstation ergonomics. An armed hold-up, that can happen because we're a point of business. Alright, the activity. So to follow on what you have learnt from today, can you please tell me what you would do in the event of finding a hazard at the Righteous Being? So for example, you found some spilt water on the floor.
Yeah. If I came across a spilt water on the floor, I would immediately isolate the area.
Yeah.
Making sure no one goes near it because someone could slip.
Yeah.
I would then call management or a health and safety rep and get them at the site of the hazard straight away.
Yeah.
We would determine where the water was coming from, stop the leak or find where the person has dropped it. Once the hazard area's been controlled, I will then assist management and the health and safety rep in fitting out and completing the incident report.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. So you've stopped anyone going in the area. You've let management know. You've determined where the water is coming from and filled out an incident report because it could end in an accident. So that's perfect. Do you have any questions in regard to OHS at the Righteous Bean?
I do have
Yes,
a couple of
yep.
questions. How do I find out who my health and safety rep is?
Great question. So in each tea room at each office, we have a picture of the health and safety reps, their names and their numbers.
No.
So if anything happens, you can just ring them straight away.
Perfect.
Anything else?
Second question. If I don't feel comfortable with how management are handling an incident
Yeah.
or an issue at work, what can I do?
Yeah, no worries. So, example, you've gone to management with a health and safety issue and they haven't done anything about it. Go to your health and safety rep. Let them know because they're the middleman and they can speak up for you. If, say, the health and safety rep's away, there's a health and safety issue and you're really worried someone's going to get injured, you can contact WorkSafe for some advice. Otherwise, definitely consult with a health and safety rep and management to say, hey, look, I just want to bring your attention to this issue. I really think someone's going to get injured. So there's different ways you can handle it.
No worries.
Thank you for your time. In conclusion, this is an overview of the Righteous Means OH&S induction. I have provided you an induction sign-off pack we will sign at the end of this meeting, the Righteous Bean Staff Handbook, the policies and procedures as outlined earlier in the presentation, the relevant information from WorkSafe Vic, and a PowerPoint copy printout. So this should be all good to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.